If you'd like to see more of our videos, hit the subscribe button to stay on top of the market news. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today is June 26, 2020, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the markets fight back to regain some lost ground. So let's take a look at the individual sectors. So as mentioned earlier this week, there is no economic events scheduled for today. But looking at the sectors first, starting out with the currencies, the majors pretty much pair off after the dollar gets a little bit stronger, while the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ try to regain some lost ground. And we're looking at the commodities. Oil bounces while gold tapers off. And lastly, looking at the stocks, they're pretty much trading with the indices, and they rebounded yesterday as well. But let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So first, starting out with the Euro USD at a 4-hour chart, you can see we pretty much regained some lost ground for the dollar, okay, as it gets a little bit stronger versus the euro to 12.12. But what's nice about this is that it's respecting its trend line, okay, and it's range bound, okay. So ultimately, the higher probability trade was to, short a little bit at 113.39. The reason I say a little bit is that because we're still in summer trading, okay? So to get really aggressive in these type of whims is a little bit more difficult to get there with that conviction. All right, so we're trading at 112.22-ish level, which is mid-range to our lower limit. So I think we're going to be trading actually in a tighter range using the 111, 112-ish as a new support, okay, and using that between these two parameters. Now that's a tighter range, and that's natural, okay, and that's normal for where the Forex symbols have been trading recently. Now looking at the GBP USD, it's a different story where we get a little bit more volatility with the GBP, as I mentioned in last night's webinar, to understand and to really feel exactly the characteristics of each currency. And looking at that right now, we're trading a 124.27-ish level, which is a little bit lower in the mid-range between our trading range compared to the Euro USD. Okay, so we are at that par level. I don't see us, moving in either direction. I just think we're going to flatline, throughout the rest of the day, unless there's going to be some sort of extra kind of information that's going to come out into the markets that we're not expecting. Okay, so ultimately we are trading pretty much a little bit below the moving averages, but nothing to really write home about as this is happening. Looking at the rand versus the dollar, now this gets kind of interesting because this has gotten stronger over the time period that we had since the coronavirus outbreak. Okay, now the rand really got hammered, okay, as you can see here, to 19 from 14 ever since the coronavirus actually transpired and became, prevalent and got disseminated into the world. The lockdowns on South Africa actually had a very adverse effects on the markets, and that could be representative of the rand. Now, we capitulated at 119. We then slowly corrected ourselves. We broke that 18-ish level, and once we did that, we continued to strengthen up to 1645. Now, we did an about face, okay, as the dollar got a little bit stronger, and now we're just making that way back down, okay? So what's significant here is that if we do break this 30-day moving average, that blue line, that would indicate that we'd probably go back to the 1645-ish area, okay? So something to really keep on the radar, and this is near and dear to our South African clients because, their base currency is the rand. So really important to really keep this on your radar. Now looking at gold, tapering off here to 1758, not much activity. I would still use the 1741 as a supportish level. 1756, a minor supportish level. As you can see, we're baselining here at this area at 1757-ish level. So something to keep an eye on. Again, the markets are still, being affected by, the lack of restrictions or the easing of the lockdowns, okay, and we're not sure how that's actually going to finally pan out because we're seeing resurgence of the virus, unfortunately, in many hotspots, and that's going to perhaps recoil the markets and people are going to go back into lockdown. So something to consider going into today's trading. Looking at gold here, I'd like to see some follow through. Okay, so this is something that I would keep on my radar today. 39.22. It did bounce from that 37.65. But again, I'd like to see it back above that $40 range. Okay, going stronger into the weekend as anticipated demand increases. Okay, for the oil. Now looking at the Dow Jones, we're trading pretty much unchanged on the week. Okay, 25,598. We had a rocky week from 26,100-ish level down to 25,100-ish level. That's 1,000 points range. That's a pretty amazing range. We're pretty much unchanged here. Okay, trading at 25,595-ish area. Now, I don't expect any major corrections today unless the markets continue going up. Okay, specifically the high-tech stocks, and then carrying the Dow Jones reluctantly higher, okay? Because ultimately it's the NASDAQ that has been really, really strong, and the Dow has just been kind of following the NASDAQ reluctantly. Now this is trading the NASDAQ we're looking at 10,000, just above 10,000, 10,100-ish level. We did have a high of 10,290. Now this is something that I think will get tested again, okay? 10,290 as we look at the individual stocks, including Apple. It's at 364, just about 7 points away from our all-time highs. If we look at Amazon, also about 15 to 20 points relative to its all-time highs. If we look at Microsoft, also trading at 199, also just about $4 away from their highs. So I'd really focus on these. Okay, these are really the important components to see if there's going to be follow through the end of the week. Now again, we are in summer trading and it's a Friday, so just be aware that it might be lighter volume today, specifically because there's no economic highlights coming out today. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day and a beautiful weekend. Thank you.